An extreme chef?
An extreme chef.
You can cook anything.
Anything.
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
Anytime.
Anytime.
7 chefs have been ripped out of the comforts of their kitchens to compete in the toughest culinary adventure ever devised.
This is beyond anything that I could have imagined.
Their journey will span 8,000 miles across the most extreme locations on Earth. The chefs will battle extreme ingredients, tools, and elements to create pure culinary genius.
These are some of the most creative chefs I've ever seen.
I have a battery of steel wool to start my fire.
Welcome to the jungles of northern Thailand.
It's just so hard.
In the end, one chef will take home $50,000 and the coveted title of Extreme Chef.
I'm gonna cut my shirt and use it as a strainer.
This is the most
Mind-bending,
Challenging, crazy,
amazing,
unbearable.
most difficult competition in the world.
This is Extreme Chef.
I'm an adrenaline junkie, so I'm the perfect candidate for Extreme Chef. I'm not only
An amazing chef.
I'm a top-ranked windsurfer.
I'm here to win it.
I have no idea where I'm at. It looks like the floodgates of hell that opened up and washed away everything for miles. My restaurant's name is Forage because it really encompasses what we do. Instead of going to a grocery store, I go out in the mountain. I'm ready to cook in any extreme condition that's thrown at me.
I'm an extreme caterer. I cook in the mountains, on the ocean, and in the forest. My friends call me the Rebel Chef. I'm here because I want to win the toughest culinary competition in the world.
This is crazy.
This is pretty bad.
This place is a hellhole. I've never seen anything like it. I don't think anybody's lived here in a long time. You don't want to get in my way, because I'm the baddest, most extreme chef in Boston. I'm in peak physical condition, and I came here to smash the competition.
It smells like nothing but dead stuff.
It smells like dead fish.
This is a landscape I'm not familiar with at all. I'm the private chef for NASCAR legend Jeff Gordon. I may only be 5 feet tall and 100 pounds soaking wet, but I'm as tough as they come.
It's almost like a bomb went out.
Where the heck are we? This place is so bizarre. I definitely pride myself on being a strong, powerful, independent woman. My sense of adventure makes me an extreme chef.
I see houses that are destroyed. What can you cook here? And who's gonna eat anything here? I'm an extreme chef because I'm an ex-military sniper and I can take you out with a bullet or a souffle.
This is nuts.
Looking around at all the other chefs, I feel that I'm in the best shape. Terry seemed a little overweight. The teeny chef seems meek to me.
I'm not sure about Chef Tiffany. She's wearing Daisy Dukes in the middle of a chef competition. Yeah, Daisy Dukes.
Welcome to Extreme Chef. You're about to start the toughest culinary competition in the world. And at the end of this journey, one of you will win $50,000.
Yes!
You're standing at the Salton Sea. In 1905, a disastrous canal accident flooded this desert, inadvertently creating an idyllic beach community. But eventually, the sea became too salty, and toxic levels rose. Millions of fish died, and as you can see, everyone fled like the apocalypse had come, leaving behind a modern-day hellhole. Today, you'll be entering life after the apocalypse. Down that road, near the sea, is a tent village that was recently abandoned by a colony. Luckily for you, they left some supplies behind. For your extreme challenge, you need to raid that village for whatever you can find and create a restaurant-quality entree. Everything had to outlast the apocalypse, so you'll be dealing with ingredients like duck preserved in its own fat, canned sardines, pickled beef tongue, and Spam. You'll also need to build your own cooking device out of whatever you can find. Finally, these survival backpacks contain the minimal essentials you will need. Be warned, the chef with the worst dish will be fighting for his or her life in the final showdown, where someone will be eliminated. You'll have 60 minutes for this challenge. And your time starts now.
The conditions in this competition and where we are just disastrous.
I got dead fish bones in my shoe.
It's just hot, the ground's salt, and I just feel like I'm gonna dehydrate in less than 10 minutes.
The challenge is to raid abandoned tents with non-perishable foods that survived the apocalypse.
I would never use any of these ingredients back home in Maui. We use fresh, but this is the challenge.
Peas. My strategy is to find at least a complete meal. The protein is gonna make or break me in this situation.
Duck's awesome.
I set this pot down outside the tent and went in to get some food. Turned around and looked outside the tent and see Tiffany running away with my vessel.
I just take this over?
Have a bit of a stinger. You'll see the blonde goodness, and then bam, you're dead.
I just lost my heat sauce.
There's all these different type of jars. I see the cow's tongue, and I know I want it. Beef tongue might sound gross, but it's actually one of the most amazing cuts of beef from an entire cow.
We have to build our own workstations and literally create fire from nothing.
Okay.
We're just running like hell, trying not to fall on glass, jumping over boards. There's nails.
I got this 1x4 that jabs me in my leg, but I ain't worried about it because there's no one more extreme than the rebel chef.
Over this. As a professional windsurfer, I have an edge because I compete every day against some of the top athletes in the world.
Tiffany, she's just crazy. She's got a kick-ass way about it.
I start splitting this stuff like a mad woman. I feel quite animalistic. This is Extreme Chef. If I have to break wood over my knee, my arm, my head, I'm gonna do it. The guns, they'll get ya.
Sweet.
Woo!
Come on, I need a new battery here. I found a 9-volt battery and a piece of steel wool to start my fire with. Traveling all over the world, one of the things that I learned is that if you put the battery and the steel wool together correctly, you can actually build a fire. I'm trying to get enough electrical current to go through the battery and into the steel wool to create a spark. Hot, hot, hot.
Light, baby, come on. I need to get my fuel lit as fast as I could because I know that's going to be the biggest part of the time crunch is making sure that there's fire and getting something hot.
Fire this thing up. Come on, sweetheart.
We're gonna go ahead and actually braise this tongue. Give me a little bit of a tomato sauce. I knew that the cow's tongue is tough. You gotta braise it. So I decided to make a smoked and braised beef tongue, smoked and grilled sauerkraut with a blanket of fruit roll. I'm gonna use this fruit roll as an element to cut the richness from the beef. I'm gonna put it over the low flame and just kind of let it simmer and marinate. Beef tongue tastes a lot like your most tender pot roast. But the key is to cook it right. If you cook it too fast, it's gonna be really, really rubbery. Hopefully some of the acid breaks down and tenders the tongue a little bit more. It's beef tongue, baby. Beef tongue.
Chefs, I want to introduce the judges for the Extreme Challenge, food historian and author of Eat My Globe, Simon Majumdar, and Mykel Hawke, survival expert.
Well, I do not think that this is an easy challenge at all, I can tell you what.
This is the first time I've ever had to worry about gamma rays in my food.
This is gonna be apocalyptic grill cooking. I'm gonna try to do everything right over this grill. I'm gonna do a Spam dish with prunes to sort of sweeten it a little bit. Spam is potted meat, but it tastes similar to a pork roll or Taylor ham. The difficulty in working with Spam is that it's already cooked and it's salty, and there really isn't much you can do with it. In order to give the Spam the flavor that I needed, I wanted to use a low-heat smoking method of cooking. I want to get some smoke on that. We're gonna put a sear on that. All right, I'm gonna use this as a top to my smoker.
Chef Lance is a barbecue master. Using that sink, he's created a little oven. So that's really smart. We're going to get something special out of there.
My strategy is now to figure out what the heck I'm going to be cooking.
I look at all the limited ingredients, and I decide to make a juniper berry beef jerky with mandarin oranges. Beef jerky, baby. The difficulty with cooking beef jerky is it's dry, it's leathery, and my thought process is I've got some mandarin oranges, which are really great, really sweet. They have a lot of moisture in them, so this is going to now play with the dryness of the beef. It's a bit of a long shot to rehydrate something that's been completely sucked of any life, but it's all I had to go on. I need to make it work.
Come on, light. Come on. I don't know what I'm gonna do about this fire. It just doesn't seem to want to light.
So I'm under the gun, big time here. Unless I can get this fire lit, I'm pretty much damaged.
Chefs, you have 36 minutes to go. 36 minutes.
Come on. Now I'm screwed.
This post-apocalyptic wasteland is where 7 of the country's most extreme chefs have begun their journey for $50,000.
I don't think anybody's lived here in a long time.
They've raided an abandoned tent village for non-perishable ingredients and built their own cooking stations from the rubble.
I feel quite animalistic.
Only 35 minutes remain in the extreme challenge to prepare a gourmet entree for our judges.
I found 3 key ingredients: sardines, pepperoncinis, and Italian tomatoes. The second I hit the table, I know I'm gonna make a Mediterranean salad with marinated sardines. I open up the can of sardines, grab for the first one, and my thumb almost goes through it. I'm nervous at this point. These things are falling apart. There's no way to put them on the grill. Now my strategy is to not break the fish, get them marinated, and onto the plate intact.
Scott over there is currently filleting canned sardines. What do you make of that, Simon?
I don't know that he needs to fillet them. He could have just griddled them over the fire, got a nice crunch on them, and used those to give some texture in a salad.
And from a survival perspective, I'm just wondering, man, if you can eat those bones, why get rid of them? You know, that's just more nutrition.
I just need to trust my instincts, be calm. I've got pepperdew peppers, which is a sweet and spicy pepper, sun-dried tomatoes, duck confit, and I grab this jar. It looks to me like ground turkey patties. So I look at the label and it says, it says gefilte fish. Kind of tastes like tuna a little bit. It tasted pretty good, actually. I'm making duck and sun-dried tomato confit with a stuffed pepperdew pepper or with gefilte fish and mystery cheese.
Come on, light.
Looks like Terry's really struggling over there.
Just won't light. Life ain't easy, but you gotta keep fighting.
I'm an outdoors guy at heart, but I haven't been able to get up off this couch. It's been a really tough couple years. My best friend died, my father-in-law died, and I had to shut my restaurant down. This competition is what I need to get my life back on track. It's time to get off this couch and show the world who the extreme chef really is. My life depends on it.
Come on.
Terry,
Yeah, hon.
looks like you're having some trouble.
I'm having a real issue with this. Steel wool doesn't want to light.
I feel like it's the right thing to do to maybe help him out. Terry,
I appreciate
we'll pass it off to you.
Kick the tires and light the fires. I appreciate it.
There
I got
you
a
go.
payback for you later down the road,
Sweet
little
Caroline
miss.
to the rescue.
Let's give it up. Feel me? I took it and I just threw it in that can. Let's fire it up. I'm working it, baby.
This pan, definitely not what you would find in my kitchen back home. I'm gonna pull from my roots, which is classically trained French. I have so many heavy proteins. I've got spam, I've got duck, I've got pig's feet. If you like bologna, then you've eaten pig's feet.
I love pig's feet. If you get the skin crisp and you get the gelatinous and the fattiness out of that meat, you can get some really great flavor in there.
I am making a trio of charcuterie with pickled vegetable salad and sweet mandarin oranges. Ideally, you want duck to go slow and low so it gets nice and crispy in a flat pan. And as you can see, this is anything but flat. Oh, but hey, look, it's still getting crisp.
So, Chef, what are you doing right here?
So I'm gonna wrap this braised tongue in the kindling, and I'm going to let it burn. And as it burns, it's gonna smoke. My stove is basically half an oil drum and a fence laid over it. I'm very adaptable. It's in my blood, it's in my spirit. I was born in a refugee camp in Malaysia. My family came from nothing. My parents worked really, really hard so that they can provide for us. Thinking of their struggles really makes me emotional because it makes me want to work harder, want to try harder, want to be better every day. And I'm here to win this for my parents. Smoking some beef.
Yeah, I'm gonna go south of France with a little duck confit with sun-dried tomatoes and thick sauce reduction. I'm gonna take these sun-dried tomatoes and prunes and turn them into a chutney on top. The sweetness of the prunes and the sun-dried tomatoes, acidic flavor, and the fat from the duck confit is just gonna be a fabulous dish by itself.
I like the idea of using duck confit, which basically poach it in its own fat and then seal it in a jar, and you can keep it about a year.
I need some sort of vessel. Right now, I need to get some flavor on these sardines. My biggest problem at this point is I have no tools to work with, no bowls, no pans, nothing. I need a bowl.
Work with what you got, brother. Come on, improvise. I'm looking over. I have no idea what he's doing. I don't even know what he's cooking. What did they teach you in Boston, huh? And I know he's looking over and he's getting intimidated. This guy is a joke.
Only 15 minutes remain in the Extreme Challenge, where our 7 chefs are creating an entree from ingredients that would survive an apocalypse. The loser of this challenge will cook for his or her life in the Elimination Showdown.
I need a bowl. At this point, I need some sort of a dressing for this salad.
That's it. That's how I'm gonna make my vinaigrette. I'm gonna use this jar.
Because I don't have a bowl or any of the utensils necessary to make a vinaigrette, I'm gonna have to empty a jar, get my ingredients in it, and shake it up. I have oil that the sardines are packed in, the pepperoncini juice, my can of tomatoes with some tomato juice. I figure I can make a semi-decent vinaigrette out of this. I'm doing this for my daughter, Annabella. I want to show her that hard work pays off and you can accomplish your dreams. I need to get some flavor on these sardines.
Marinating these sardines right now, saving a little bit of the vinaigrette for the plate. We're getting there.
You have 10 minutes, chefs! 10 minutes to go!
What we're gonna do with these, we're gonna put these prunes right over the fire with my oven down here. I'm using my fire source in 3 different ways. 1, as a smoker. 2, I'm using my cinder block as a hot top. And 3, I'm using open flame to fire roast my prunes. I'm making pine wood smoked spam with artichoke and saltine dumplings and fire roasted prunes. These are fire roasted prunes, and they are excellent now.
Can't take this heat no more. It's just so hot. It's just unbearably hot. Hades couldn't have planned a better disastrous situation for me.
Every element of this competition is extremely hard. The environment, the limited amounts of food, the equipment. I have to use my knife as a spoon, a spatula. This is beyond anything that I could have imagined.
This is exactly how it happens in a survival situation. There's so much going on, there's so much chaos, you have to make order of it.
Now, if I could get this open, that would be helpful. I've got no stove, no oven. I'm used to having top-of-the-line appliances. And here I am out in the middle of the nowhere land, cooking on a shopping cart. All right, tomato juice. Don't mess around with the tiny shot. I'll get you.
All right, so what I'm gonna do is just focus on this salad a little bit. I'm thinking I'm gonna go with a little pickled green bean, or haricot vert salad. I think it's gonna go really well with the Spam and the duck. Nothing goes better with charcuterie than a little pickle to sort of balance out that really super fattiness.
Do I see some duck cracklings going on there?
Yeah, I pulled off the skin. I'm just gonna do a little crispy.
That's a great idea. One of the things about really top chefs like this is they can take ingredients that you and I would just go, you know, they never belong together, and they'll turn them into something amazing, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to see something like that.
2 minutes, chefs! You have 2 minutes to go! Crap.
Time's almost up. I'm pulling off little bits of duck, just enough for the judges to have a little taste.
30 seconds, chefs! 30 seconds! Where is Chef Terry going?
I don't know what Terry's doing.
What is he doing? Chef, what are you doing? Coming up, one bite for your lives. The first elimination showdown. Can't believe you're putting your hands directly into the blue flames there. Which chef won't survive? Do not do this at home, children. What is he doing? Chef, what are you doing?
Getting some garnish for my table, so when you come to it, you're like, oh, well, you just think of everything.
He's garnishing the table. Are you kidding me? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up, knives down!
Woo, baby! Come on with it.
Chef Izzy, please introduce your dish.
Well, I basically did a trio of charcuterie with a pickled vegetable salad. I have a little crispy duck skin, some pork crackle in there, and I used the pickled vegetables, artichokes, and I sort of immersed everything in the pickling liquid as well.
I actually really like the use of the fruit with the pork, the orange, and that just cuts through the fattiness of this kind of canned pork, which could be very salty. Perhaps you could have done something a little bit more than just lay out the beans. I mean, they're kind of just there.
I love how you've taken the duck and done a couple of different things with it, and the food tastes good, too.
Thank you, Chef. Let's move on. And Chef, what did you pull together here?
I have a juniper berry steak that's actually beef jerky that I've rehydrated in juniper berry and the mandarin oranges, and it's on a bed of grilled peppers. So we have a little bit of a sweetness.
The beef, I'm afraid, is as tough as like the sole of a marine shoe. I do like the use of the orange. The fruit does cut through the meat. It gives you a little bit of acidity in there as well.
From the survival perspective, I love your aggressive approach. And for the record, what you did with the knife and the stick is called batoning. It's an excellent survival skill.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, Chef.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you.
And Chef, what delights did you muster up?
So this is a smoked and braised beef tongue, and there's pickled green beans. And then on top of that, there's a blanket of a strawberry fruit roll. So there's salty and sweet and savory, and all that comes together.
I may never say these words again, but the fruit roll really, really works.
It really does. I'm so impressed. I'm digging this dish.
I'm astonished. It's missing one thing for me, which is a tiny bit of heat. But I think in terms of getting the smoke into the meat, I think it's a pretty astonishing dish.
Yeah, I'm very impressed.
If I could, I would have just coated that in ash.
There is a certain flavor that it does add. Some burnt meat with ash, it's a nice touch.
Okay, well, thank you, Chef.
Thank you.
Let's move on. And Chef, what did you muster up?
Well, what we have here is a little Mediterranean salad with some sardine fillets. We grilled the peppers, grilled the tomatoes to get a little smoky flavor on there. The oil from the sardines was my oil for my little vinaigrette.
And the fact that you grill the tomatoes to get that flavor into them, you've used the pickles to get some heat into there, you've used the oil from the sardines as your vinaigrette, means that this relatively simple-looking dish, although very pretty, has got more flavor than you imagine.
Well, I'm impressed just from a survival perspective. You know, one of the most difficult things to do is get that vegetable matter going on, and you set out with a purpose, and you accomplish that purpose, so, you know, hats off for that.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Chef. Thank you. Thank you, sir. And Chef, hi. Please introduce your dish.
Okay, I have a duck and sun-dried tomato confit with a stuffed pappardou pepper. The pepper stuffed with gefilte fish and some pickled mushrooms and a little bit of cheese flavored with tarragon.
Chef, I think if you're going to call it a duck dish, you probably needed to have a little bit more of the duck on there. Because what there was tasted really lovely.
It was a very unique flavor, I must admit.
All right, thank you, Chef.
Thank you.
Chef,
Gentlemen,
what did you make?
today I made smoked spam with artichoke and saltine dumplings and fire-roasted prunes.
I have to say, some of the execution I'm having some issues with. I think the Spam is really clunky. I mean, it's heavy just because you've cut it in such big chunks, and I think you could have done something a little more artistic, even one wants to say, with it. The main protein, I think, is a little disappointing.
I can see where the judges are coming from. I could have sliced the Spam a little differently, maybe fanned it out or feathered it out on the plate.
Being a caveman, knuckle dragger myself, I love that you made it nice and smoky like you did.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you.
Chef Terry.
Chef.
Judges,
I got to commend you on the presentation here. Please introduce your dish.
I've prepared a desert sage duck confit with a prune and sun-dried tomato chutney.
I think the confit is really, really well prepared.
That's nice.
It's got a good crunch. You've kept the fattiness. Sometimes these things can go very dry. That chutney that you made works beautifully with the duck.
No, I'm very, very excited that you got that crunchy outside, but still cooked proper and tasty in the middle. Not too done.
Thank you, Chef. Okay, well, gentlemen, what I'm going to need is the winner and the loser of this challenge. Deliberate. Let me know when you made a decision.
Okay. So what do you think, Mike?
Well, it's a tough one. All of them did a really good job. I saw some that I liked the way they worked, but I wasn't really tickled by their food, and some I really didn't care for the way they worked, but their food was fantastic.
The judges thought that it was a strange combination with the gefilte fish, stuffed pepper, and the duck, but I thought that I needed to use everything that I had and not be wasteful.
I agree with Simon. I knew that it was beef jerky, and I knew I was stretching on the hydration. I'm expecting the worst and hoping for the best.
I'm a little shaken, but I think that I showed enough technique that they understand I belong in this competition.
I guess we have our top and our bottom.
Yeah.
Well, let's let Marsh know.
Okay.
Chefs, I've spoken to the judges, and they've made their decision. The chef who plated the worst dish and who will be fighting for their life in the final showdown is Chef Lance. Ultimately, the judges thought your Spam was clunky and lacked flavor. I'm sorry, you will be going on to the final showdown for the right to stay in this competition.
I'm shocked. I didn't think my dish was that bad. I couldn't believe it.
Who you'll be going up against will be decided by the winner of the Extreme Challenge.
To be able to win and choose the person to go against the loser in the showdown totally changed the whole course of the show.
And the winner of the Extreme Challenge is Chef Scott. Congratulations.
I could not believe that Scott won.
I know I'm a great chef in Boston. Now I know I'm measuring up to these chefs. That's a big deal.
You get to choose who will be going up against Chef Lance in the final showdown. You hold all the cards right now.
Now I need to figure out a strategy.
Rough day, guys.
Yeah, really rough.
Congratulations to Scott.
Thank you.
You got a tough decision to make.
Yeah, what's your strategy here? I probably would put in a weaker player up against Lance. I wouldn't want someone strong coming after me.
I know that Scott is going to pick one of the strongest chefs here because he would be stupid not to.
Yeah, why shouldn't I put you up against Lance?
You wanted some competition, so, you know, I think it'd be a bad decision for you to let me go in.
I think you should put the two boys together because they're
Gladiator
very...
school?
I think that that's a good strategy personally for you.
Ooh. Somebody, not naming any names, stole my grill.
I'm definitely nervous he's going to pick me to go up against Lance due to the fact that I stole his fire.
Well, somebody's got to duke it out with me, and I don't really care who it
Someone's
is.
getting in the ring.
I got a lot to think about. Let's get out of here.
Chefs, welcome to the final showdown. Chef Lance, you will be fighting for your life to stay in this competition. Chef Scott, you won the Extreme Challenge. Now, it is your decision as to who will be going up against Chef Lance in the final showdown.
I had a sleepless night last night. I went back and forth with different strategies, thought of some people that I might owe a little beating to, and then it came down to putting up stronger cooks against Lance. Viet, one of the strongest chefs here. Izzy with your tricks up your sleeve.
So who's your decision?
I've chosen Viet.
Chef Viet, how do you feel about that?
I'm totally capable of everything. Him choosing me basically says that I'm the strongest competitor, and I take this as a compliment. After I beat Lance, I'm coming back for you.
Ooh! A little rivalry might have started here, huh? Okay, well, Chef Viet, please take your position behind the cooking station. This will be the biggest dish you've ever made, and also the smallest, because you'll be making just one bite. After an apocalyptic event, food that's ordinarily thrown away is often treasured. So you will only be using the scraps of ingredients. You'll find those ingredients buried under the sand in what's called a root cellar. Survivalists often bury food in these cellars to keep food from spoiling. For one of you chefs, Doomsday will come today. Chef Lance versus Chef Viet. One bite for your lives. You'll have 20 minutes for this challenge, and your time starts now.
I ran as fast as I could. I sprinted over rocks, dead fish. It was rough. I almost fell on my face. I saw the boxes, so I dug as fast as I could. You know what? This box isn't that big. So I just picked up the whole entire box without even looking into it and ran back to the beach as fast as I could.
He's taking the whole box.
That might have been a good strategy to bring that whole box. Chef Lance, come on!
I decide to look inside the box and see what I want to take from it. My ingredients that I gather are scraps and ends, chicken innards, scallions, the ends of yellow bell pepper, and a shot of what I think is brandy. These are ingredients that I would normally throw out or throw into a stock. Now I have to make one bite of food.
Well done, Chef.
I get back to my station and I have a Bowie knife, a camp stove, and a blowtorch to work with.
They don't call it extreme for nothing.
So guys, when you're thinking about one spoon, what's the correct technique here?
You've got to have good seasoning, you've got to have strong flavors. You get one bite with this spoon.
In this showdown, all that we have to work with are things that are left over, things that are typically thrown away. Chicken guts, bell pepper tops, onion tops, little splashes of whiskey. But if an apocalypse happens, you have to be able to use whatever's left.
Chefs, 15 minutes to go!
These are chicken innards. I'm gonna use the gizzards. They're like they're organ meat.
The jar in the root cellar had chicken gizzards, chicken hearts, and chicken livers. I decided to use the gizzards because I felt that the flavor in the gizzard is better than the flavor in the heart and the liver. So I am making fire-roasted scallions with chicken gizzards and brandy.
What I'm doing is searing these in a little paprika. Paprika actually adds a little flavor.
Chicken hearts, there's gizzards. I knew immediately that I wanted to use the heart because the heart is the most tender. So I'm making a smoked chicken heart amuse-bouche. An amuse-bouche is simply a small bite meant to stimulate the palate. We're gonna fillet the heart, kind of butterfly it. The hearts are kind of big, and I want it to cook really evenly, and I want to develop a nice char on the heart.
Go, Lance! Kick his ass!
He's got this inner core of just coolness that just keeps him focused. He's the silent, scary one.
I don't think Viet has ever come up against a sniper. My strategy to win the competition is what any sniper would do. Stay in control and calm under pressure, and then attack.
I mean, these are the scraps of the bird, scraps of the ends of the bell peppers. How challenging is this?
Actually, you know what? The scraps that you get, those leftovers, can often make the most tasty dishes because they're the little bits that have flavor.
Good news is they don't need a lot of time to cook those ingredients, though.
Well, yeah, except for gizzards.
Might not have enough time, but I think I can get on them when I need to.
If you cook these a second over, they turn into rubber bullets.
I'm gonna smoke the chicken innards. And obviously there's no wood here, so I'm gonna use the wood for my cutting board, make wood chips. And then I'm gonna smoke the chicken innards with it. As I'm shaving the wood off of this cutting board, I'm reminded of all the stories that I've heard about my dad back in Malaysia in the refugee camps. How he used to have to hike up the mountains, go through the forest, chop down trees, and haul them all the way down just to build a shelter for our family. I want to make my dad proud. And And I'm here at this moment, trying to become the man that he is.
Come on, Lance, show that old school.
I first saute my gizzards whole, and this is to get a little color and flavor on them.
I think Lance can now really show what he's made of.
I start to make a little sauce in the pan.
I'm gonna hit it with a little brandy.
What I would be doing is, I think exactly what Chef Lance is doing is flambeing the gizzards in the whiskey. Burn off the alcohol, you know, get some flavor into them, get some crunch on them.
Whoops, watch out. You gotta be careful on those stoves with brandy.
We're gonna get those wood chips. Put the wood chips back in, smoke them with some porcini mushroom, close it up.
He's using a chopping board as a makeshift lid there.
I take the cutting board and I put it on top of the pan to encapsulate all the smoke that's being produced and not being blown away, so that I can keep it in there, and at the same time, it's smoking the heart.
9.5 minutes to go, chefs.
I throw in the yellow bell peppers, hibiscus flower, and my dried mushrooms in the pan, and I add water. And I start to reconstitute the mushrooms and also make a little sauce in the pan.
I want all these flavors to come together in one bite. So I don't want to leave to chance that the judges don't get a bite of something I intend for them to get a bite of. That's tasting good.
An aspiring chef should watch both of these because they're tasting, they really know what they're doing. These are well-trained chefs.
I'm gonna make some onion ash. From the previous challenge, Mykel Hawke mentioned that he liked meats with ash. I'm trying to burn this and turn it to an ash here. And then I'm gonna rub the onion ash in the hearts.
5 minutes, chefs, 5 minutes to go.
Right now, I think I'm gonna work with the scallions.
I now want to use the fire to fire roast my scallions and give them more flavor and texture.
Barehanded, he's up in there, tough man.
Oh my God, that's how the rock stars do it.
This is burning my fingers.
Chef Lance, I can't believe you're putting your hands directly into the blue flames there. Do not do this at home, children.
He's done the culinary equivalent of walking on hot coals there.
Yes, he has.
They've got to be doing stuff like this, otherwise they're just going to be going home.
2 minutes, chefs, you have 2 minutes to go.
In a challenge like this, plating and presentation is critical. And I'm trying to get everything together, getting the last sauces on the spoon, making the spoon look good. Let's finish it off with a little bit of a smoked paprika.
60 seconds to go, chefs, 60 seconds. One of you will be going home.
This is anybody's game right here.
"60 seconds to go, chefs, 60 seconds.
I want to put a bed of the wilted scallions on the spoon first, and then take my chicken gizzard and pepper mixture and put that on top, and then finish the dish off with my sauce.
This is it. One of them's going down.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up, knives down.
Considering I was working with scraps, a Bowie knife, and a blowtorch, I feel very confident about this spoonful.
I know that I'm gonna win because these flavors are solid.
Chef, please introduce your Doomsday spoon.
What I've made today is a classic French dish, chicken gizzards with brandy. I had a little hibiscus flower, some mushrooms, and paprika.
Incredibly impressed with the way you cook. From a culinary point of view, it's a really nice bite. The charring of the scallions, I think, gives it that little bit of smokiness, and you've added to that with the paprika. You've got the crunch from the peppers, but you haven't left them raw, which is one of my least favorite tastes on earth, those raw peppers. You've got the gizzards, which I know turn into rubber bullets in just like a second, and you've kept them at exactly the right texture. I am getting a slight back taste, and I don't know whether that's the butane, and it's kind of overpowering a bit.
For me, the dedication to the craft and watching you work, I was in awe. And the food tasted, to me, absolutely wonderful, but there is a hint of something, and it's still lingering.
Okay, well, thank you, Chef.
Well done, mate.
Chef Viet, please introduce your Doomsday spoon.
So this is an apocalyptic smoked heart amuse.
You're a confident guy, aren't you?
I am very confident.
So tell us what was in your spoon to be so confident about.
I just butterfly the heart, seared off really quick and deglaze it with a little bit of the bourbon. And then I burned some onion ash. This is for you. So I coated the hearts in the onion ash, and then I took the hibiscus and proceeded to make like a vinaigrette.
From a presentation point of view, it was beautiful, and that makes you want to eat it. I think the hearts were good. There was definitely a little bit of smoke in there.
I took the wood from the cutting board, and I believe this is oak, so it's smoked in a little bit of oak.
It's always a nice addition when you're working with organ meat like that. You're working with something just to add that extra bit of flavor in there. I really like the use of the hibiscus. I think that slight tanginess, it almost has a tamarind flavor. It gives it that slight sourness that I think really gets the palate going, but it was quite salty.
Frankly, I loved the taste of the food. I found it to be really outstanding.
Thank you, Chef. Judges, the fate of one of these chefs lies in your hands. Deliberate, take your time. Let me know when you've made a decision.
Mykel, we're in this apocalyptic scene. How do you think the two chefs faced off in this challenge, given that circumstance?
Well, watching Lance today, I think he got off to a bad start when he started grabbing things by hand instead of just taking it all with him.
From a culinary point of view, though, I think what he did that really impressed me was he went back to his technique. The way he flambéed those gizzards, he cooked them perfectly. But the way he charred those scallions, I was a bit worried how he did it over the flame. I didn't know whether that was a silly thing to do.
And that might have been what we found. That was a really difficult thing in the flavor of it at the end of it.
Shouldn't take this long. As far as that butane flavor, I think the char on the scallions added so much complexity to the dish that I think that can be overlooked.
I mean, Chef Viet, his spoon was absolutely beautiful, and I eat in some of the best restaurants on earth. And if I got that spoon that he presented us with, I would not be disappointed.
I like that he read the situation. He knew that I like smoke, that I like ash, and he adapted and improvised.
I absolutely agree. But you know, from a culinary fundamental point of view, he oversalted his dish.
It's taking them so long, huh?
I know it was a tough decision, but
knowing what he said to me about my dish, about being salty, I don't know. You know, I don't want to go home.
Chefs, you've endured a very tough day. You've shown innovation, creativity, and resilience. But for one of you, your journey ends now. I've spoken to the judges, and they've made their decision. Your fate in this competition will literally lie in your own hands. One of these knives is branded with an X. The chef holding the extreme knife will be moving on to our next location. Draw your knives on 3, 2,
I'm dying to see that red X on my knife.
1.
Yes!
Woo! Congratulations, Chef Viet. Sorry, Chef Lance. You will not be moving on in the competition.
I enjoyed it a great deal. Good job, Viet. I thought my dish was strong. I wanted to move on, but no regrets.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Good job. Good job.
Congratulations, Chef Viet. You may join your fellow chefs. I'll be seeing you all in our next location.
Being the strongest competitor, I know that I'm going to be in every showdown because I'm a threat to every single one of those people. But what they don't know is the amount of experience that you gain from each of these showdowns. It makes you a stronger cook, it makes you a stronger person, and that's what they should think about.
This competition is tough. You know, I've been in a lot of extreme situations. I was a scout sniper in the Marine Corps. What I take from this experience is that even as an older chef, I can still get out here and compete with the young, the best, and the most extreme chefs in the country.
Next time on Extreme Chef. For this challenge, you'll be working in teams.
This is extreme. It's no joke.
Do you know how to chop really fast?
I'm getting so sick of Viet.
No, don't use that. Use the lid. Use the lid. Tiffany's a wreck.